Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today is another book that I picked up at Second and Charles. It's Tales by Fabio Moon and Gabriel Baz, the dynamic duo, the amazing set of twins from Brazil, twin brothers from Brazil, who I just love everything they do. I don't think there's a thing they touch that I haven't liked. This is a collection of short stories. These all seem like autobiographical, or at least, kind of emotionally autobiographical short stories from there. It seems like younger in their career. The art looks like it was younger. This says that it was done in 2006. I'm trying to remember the first time I encountered. I know Gabriel Baz was on Casanova with Matt Fraction that I first saw him, but I don't remember if that was prior to 2006 or not. But the artwork in here, at least at the beginning, looks less sophisticated. I mean, it's still real. You can see right out the gate. This is Fabio Moon stuff. It's still really great artwork, but it just doesn't have the fluidity that I'm used to seeing in his stuff. It feels a little more tense and chunky. So I think this is younger work from them, but the stories are still really good, and the art, it's really cool because you see the art evolve, and there's some other cool stuff that they do in here. When they collaborate, it's often hard to tell who does what. Like, they may write and draw and ink their whole story themselves. It seems like sometimes one will write and the other one will draw. It seems like sometimes they might share layouts with someone else inking. They're really like a collaborative duo, and it's hard to piece it apart. But that doesn't really matter. It makes it even more kind of interesting to me. So they start out with this dream sequence where they're basically worried about just like they're worried about doing stories about being young men drinking and dating. Yeah, like that's not an appropriate story. And the dream tells them like, hey, if you do it with truth, that's what people like about your work, is it's truth and honest. And so just do it. And that's what the stories are. It's about them being young men drinking and, dating, hooking up with chicks, being in relationships. You'd think, okay, well, not that great, but they're just so good that it doesn't matter. Like they pull it off. The dream is right. They speak truth in what they're doing. They speak the reality of their life in a compelling way. They never use exposition or anything like that. They just throw you in the story and start telling, and they always kind of land it emotionally. It's amazing, and they both do it with their totally different styles. Right out the gate, it's really interesting to see the chain of influences. I like tracking that. Like here, like I said, this is Fabio Moon, and like not so great yet. Art's all right, but here you see he's got to be looking at Munoz, the Alac Center stuff. He's obviously looking at Paul Pope as well. And you just got this little silent story about people catching eyes in a bar and going out and having a date afterwards, basically getting a phone number. When you get to Gabriel Baz artwork, it's kind of the same thing. The stories are the same thing, but you see more of the Eduardo Hizo influence in his art. Like a face like that, I think, is very Hizo. The clean lines with the black filled in, a lot of the composition, but really powerful art. Again, it looks like the faces and stuff seem a little like proto Gabriel Baz, but not as sophisticated as it is now and not as unique as it is now, but it's cool to see that. So there's a whole bunch of stories along those lines. This story I felt was really, really interesting, and I want to do this on camera because they each take turns telling the exact same story, where I think it's Fabio Moon goes into the bathroom. I think he's the one with the long hair. He's the twin with the long hair. He goes into the bathroom to pee, and he encounters himself, and he's saying, oh, you dummy, you should have talked to that girl, like future me and past me. And then Gabriel Baz tells the exact same story, and so it's really fun to flip. I think they probably just had a script and they didn't look at each other's art, and then they came back. I could imagine two brothers doing that, especially twins. Like, okay, let's see how we both tell this story without looking at each other's stuff. I hope that's what happened. but you can see the different choices they make on the first panel, more straight on, more down from the side. Pretty similar shot there. Side faces, front faces. Character coming in. Gabriel Baz focuses way more on the guy's dick coming out of his pants. So it's really fun. Dialogue's exactly the same. Really fun to flip back and forth and see how these two exceptional artists, twin brothers, handle the exact same story. There he is leaving the bathroom. Way more focus on the handle. You can also see that they both got a lot better. So Fabio Moon has really leaned into the Paul Pope vibes. And Gabriel Baz digging down more into his kind of combination of Eduardo Hezo and Mike Mignola, I think, are kind of the big two things I see. So that's a lot of fun. And then another thing I noticed in this story, again, here's Gabriel Baz. This is getting more towards what I'm used to from him. Very kind of fluid Paul Pope stuff. And then I noticed one of the characters has THB on his shirt. So there's an acknowledgement of the Paul Pope influence, I'm sure. You can really see it in the way the music and all the noise is handled. Is very, very Paul Pope, where it's just interwoven into the imagery. It's not even captions. It's just part of the image at that point. So that I really found fun too, just tracking their stylistic influences and the growth throughout the book. So yeah, it's, as always with their work, it's a beautiful book. They really have poetic spirit souls that come through. They notice a lot of beauty in the world, and that's always really evident in their work to me. So again, it's a winner. They're unstoppable pair. I love these guys' work. So if you can find yourself a copy of that, I haven't looked online. I don't know. It came out in 2010. I'm sure there's used copies of it around. I don't know if it's still in print, but you can get yourself a copy of that. Definitely grab that. If you have not already, grab yourself a copy of Strange Death of Alex Raymond, which was by myself collaborating with Dave Sim, put out by Sean and Living the Line. And then make sure you start saving up. Sean's got a whole bunch of awesome books coming out. He's really got a killer lineup building. The first three that will be coming out are Plaza by Yuichi Yokoyama, a totally wild, over-the-top manga. Just a real visual delight, that book. Then that will be followed by Eric Creek's The Exile, which is a really beautifully illustrated Viking story. It's like a 2 or 3 color, looks like old woodblock print type of art in this Viking story. Just gorgeous work. Look up Eric Creek online and you'll see, oh yeah, I got to get that book. And then following that will be a totally awesome sci-fi book called Centralia by Neil Vandepit. It's a super hyper detailed, like post-apocalyptic sci-fi with a really fun kind of basic conceit that drives the book and a lot of cool wild characters in it. So there's a lot of good stuff. Start saving up for it. Thanks for following along. Take it away, Jack.
You want to see all these books? Smash that subscribe button and the like button and the bell, and then you get them.